And welcome back. I hope you're all doing well. So in this video, we're going to talk about configuring your Linux system to get the max out of your monitor and performance. We're going to touch on X11 and talk a little about what it is and does. And then we're going to discuss XRANDR, what it is and does, and how to use it. As per usual, I'll create a step-by-step guide and upload it to the GitHub. And of course, I'll put a link in the description below. Okay, so a fairly short intro. So with that out of the way, let's go ahead and jump into it. Now, before we get into the weeds on this topic, we need to understand what X11 is. Now, I know a lot of you are longtime users of Linux and already know what X11 is and does, but I do get a lot of newer folks watching who may not, so bear with me for their benefit. Okay, so what is X11? Basically, it's a protocol that lets your apps talk to your computer, so windows, browsers, and graphics can be displayed on your screen and respond to your input. It manages what you see and how you see it. It also manages how you interact with it. A simpler way to say all that is X11 is the protocol that shows your apps on screen and makes them react when you click your mouse or press keys on your keyboard. It handles what you see and how you interact with your computer. Now keep in mind that X11 does not handle sound. That's the job of audio systems like ALSA, Pulse Audio, and Pipewire. Essentially, without beating us to death, X11 is the organizer of your screen. It takes what your apps want to show, figures out where to put them, and works with your drivers and kernel so your GPU properly draws it on your monitor. Now for input, the kernel receives your keyboard and mouse signals first, then X11 routes them to the right window so your apps know how to respond. Okay, so there are currently two main display protocols out there, which are X11 and Wayland. And there are a lot more too, and you can do a Google search if you're curious, but we're not going to dive into that at this time. This is not quite the video for it. I personally use X11 over Wayland. For those of you newer to Linux, X11 has been the standard for decades. In fact, it came out in 1987, released by the Project Athena team of MIT. Wayland, on the other hand, is a newer protocol that's slowly but surely replacing X11. The source code for Wayland was made available in 2010 and was created by Christian Hogsberg. By 2013/14, Wayland sessions started to appear in GNOME and KDE. And it wasn't until around 2017 that it became the official default for both GNOME and Fedora. I don't want to get too deep in the weeds on the differences between the two. That's not the purpose of this video. But I will say that because X11 has been around a lot longer than Wayland, it offers more stability and compatibility overall. But on the other hand, Wayland is more modern and does offer better overall security. I do want to mention that I couldn't find any solid statistics on exactly how many Linux users are still on X11 versus Wayland, partly because many distros fall back to X11 or give users the choice, like Pop! OS does. You know, when you are logging into Pop! OS, you click on the gear, you can choose the type of instance you want to log into, either X11 or Wayland. But Wayland is becoming more common, especially as the default in newer versions of Fedora, KDE, GNOME, and Ubuntu. So eventually I will make the switch over as well, but for now I've used X11 for years and it just works for me, so I'm not in any hurry to make the switch just yet. Okay, so enough of that. Let's get into the main point of this video. So using XRANDR. If you're a Wayland user, this guide will not help you much since XRANDR is specifically for X11, but for the benefit of newer users, let's quickly talk about what XRANDR is and why you'd want to use it. Okay, so what is XRANDR? Well, it's an acronym that stands for X, Resize, and Rotate. It's a command line tool built into X11 that lets you control your display settings without digging through menus. Now you might be thinking, why not just use the display settings in my desktop environment? And most of the time, that works fine. But sometimes those menus don't give you every option, or they don't work the way you need. For example, maybe your monitor supports 1440p, but the settings in your desktop environment are only showing 1080. Or maybe you plugged in a second monitor and it's not being detected correctly. That's where XRANDR comes in. It gives you full control over your display straight from the terminal. You can change resolutions, adjust frame rates, rotate your screen, or set up multiple monitors exactly how you want. The point I want to drive home here is that XRANDR is an important tool because your system doesn't always pick the best settings automatically. Your monitor tells your computer what it can do through something called EDID, which stands for Extended Display Identification Data. Basically, when you plug in your monitor, your GPU reads the EDID to figure out what modes the display supports so it can send the right signal. Okay, so let's go ahead and put XRANDR to use. So the first thing we need to do is open up a terminal and make sure you're up to date. I've already done that today, so there's no point in me doing it again. but you know the drill. Sudo apt update, hit enter, put in your password, let it do its thing. Now we need to list out the displays to find the output name for the monitor that we want to configure. And to do that, we're just going to type in XRANDR, XRANDR, hit enter. And you can see I have two monitors here. You want to remember the name of your monitor. In my case, it's DisplayPort -0. And then that's what we're going to use to tell XRANDR to tell X11 on how we want our display to be handled. So the command for that is XRANDR, and then a space, hyphen, output, then a space, and then the name of your monitor. Mine is DisplayPort -0, and then a space, hyphen, mode, another space. In my case, it's 2560 by 1440. And then we're going to do a space, hyphen, rate, another space, and then 120 in my case. Now, of course, these numbers are going to vary depending on your particular setup. Hit enter, and we should be good to go. Now, to check to make sure that we're running at the resolution and frames we want, we're simply going to type in XRANDR, a space, throw in a pipe, whoops, another space, and then grep, and an asterisk. Hit enter, and you can see that I'm currently running at 120 frames per second, and I'm at 1440p. Now, here's the catch. A couple of catches here, actually. The first one is that the XRANDR command I just showed you only sets the resolution and refresh rate for the current session. So as soon as you reboot or shut down, you're going to lose those settings and have to run the command again manually. But I'm going to show you how to create a script that will set the refresh rate and your resolution as soon as you fire up your computer. And also keep in mind, too, that you can't force your monitor to do something that it doesn't support. For example, if you have a true 1080p 60Hz monitor, you can't make it run at 1440p at 120 Hz. XRANDR only works within the real limitations of your hardware. All right, so let's go ahead and clear this out. Okay, so to do this, we're going to type in your terminal, you're going to type in nano, a space, a tilde, / dot, and then X profile. Hit enter. All right. Now we're in Nano 6.2, so we're going to go ahead and put that same command in that we did before. XRANDR, space, hyphen, output, space, DisplayPort 0 in my case, -0, a space, and then hyphen, mode. And in my case, 2560 by 1440. Then another space, hyphen, rate. And I'm going to go 120. Then you're going to exit. You're going to save this and exit out. So hit yes, and then hit enter, and it's good to go. So now every time that I boot my computer up or do a reboot, the script will execute, and my refresh rate and my resolution will be adjusted accordingly. Okay, so that wraps up this video. I hope it helped some of you out. I have bought a few more games on Steam, so I'm thinking about putting together another Steam library playthrough update, maybe this weekend. We'll see. So thanks for watching. I hope to see you in the next video. So until then, stay safe out there and have a good one.